Welcome to another Cardano update. Like always, make sure to check out our YouTube memberships and our Patreon if you want access to all of our charts and if you want access to our daily Discord updates that are no longer daily because there's not much going on for only like $5 a month. Also check out the third wave of the third wave merchandise, and well, Cardano is still going sideways right now. I mean, there's not much else you need to know if you watched yesterday's video. So in this video, I actually want to start with Bitcoin and I want to see what's happening on this chart just so we can get an idea of what could happen next. And again, I want to talk about the weekly chart. I have not talked about the weekly chart in quite some time, so I think it's finally time to do that. And I want to start from the beginning right here. So right here, after getting the bear market low in November of 2022, we went up and we went up to about, let's see, about $30,000, and then we went down about 22%. When we dropped on the RSI dropped on RSI level of about 44. Now, I'm gonna tell you why this is important very soon, but first, let's talk about what happened after that. And here, as you can see, we went up again. We went up for about 6 months, and we went up about 200%, and then we had a correction. Of course, during this time, everybody thought that we are in a bear market because, you know, Bitcoin was going down, but this was just a fake out, and after going down for about 147 days, we found a low right here, which was at $50,000. Now, I have not mentioned this yet, but this low right here was at $25,000. And if you look at what happened after we got the low at $50,000, we went up again. We went up for about 6 months, just like we did right here. And then we went down, and the next low was at $75,000. Now, I know if you have been watching this channel for longer than a month or so, you probably already know what's happening here, but honestly, there's not much else to talk about, so I want to revisit this and I want to talk about what's happening on the RSI right now because this is going to be very important. And also, I talked about the lows. Each time we had these lows, the RSI went to the exact same levels every single time. The RSI went to about 40, well, let's see, about 44 or so, and then we reacted, and I told you this back here at $75,000. I told you that we are most likely not in a bear market and that we will most likely react to the trend line right here on the RSI because that's exactly where we reacted in the past. And well, we did just that. We bounced from $75,000 to about $110,000, and of course nobody cares about that because Bitcoin dominance is still at cycle highs. But I think people are gonna start caring once Bitcoin finally breaks its all-time highs again. So I think they're gonna start caring once it gets to about $120,000, and then, you know, when they start caring and then when they start buying, that will put Bitcoin around, let's see, about $136,000 maybe, or $157,000 to finish its main third wave somewhere in this region. And then we'll get the summer drop. Now, before that happens, I'm not sure if the summer drop will actually happen during the summer in this cycle, and I know that sounds weird, but let me explain. So here, after getting the first low, Bitcoin went up for about 6 months. Here, after getting the second low, Bitcoin went up for about 6 months if you count the B wave and not the third wave high. And right now, if we do the exact same thing again, I mean, from this low right here of April, we would have to go up for about 6 months, or at least like 168 days like we did over here. And if we do that, that puts us in September of 2025, meaning that Bitcoin actually has a chance to continue going up until September, and then we get some type of correction in October, which by the way is very usual for Bitcoin. Bitcoin usually does very bad in October, and that puts us back to $100,000. Everybody thinks the bear market started, and then we bounce again, and that puts us above $200,000. So I think this is a scenario that could happen. I don't think we're gonna get the summer drop, you know, as early as we did in the previous 3 cycles, because we just had a drop right here, and it would not really make sense to get another one, or at least not right now. I mean, if we get to the at least, you know, 1.414 extension for the 5th wave right here, that will be, you know, able to be considered a third wave move to the upside, a main third wave move to the upside, because we're gonna have 5 waves up. But I think it's gonna overextend, and if it doesn't, then the next low will most likely remain the exact same. So after that, even if we only get to $126,000, I'm expecting the 4th wave move down to drop drop back to $100,000 and then we should still go higher in the fifth wave, so that remains the exact same thing. Now I want to talk about the RSI right here. As you can see, we are in a downtrend, which is not great, and I think once we actually get to the trend line right here on the RSI, if we do not get above it, that could be a bad sign, and if we get rejected by it again, something like this could happen, and that could put us below, well, not below, but at the trend line right here again, and I don't really want to see that. I mean, if you look at what happened in the previous, couple of cycles, at least on the weekly chart, when the RSI went to the overbought territory, it stayed there for quite a long time, and it never really tested these, RSI levels again. Well, obviously here we have an example. I mean, here we tested the November of 2019 RSI when we dropped around here to about $33,000, and as you can see, after testing it, we did not manage to get back above the moving average, and that confirmed that we are in a bear market. And right now, I don't think we are in a bear market. I think we are still in a normal cycle, and I think by the end of the year, Bitcoin will still be above $200,000. And I want to talk about the monthly chart as well. This is something that's showing us that we are still in a very bullish market. And why is that? It's because on the monthly chart, we got above the moving average on the RSI. And this is a good sign because in the previous cycle, we actually got rejected at the moving average. And that confirmed that the bear market started. But in this cycle, it's a different story. We got back above it, meaning that the move that happened over here and over here is most likely still coming. And I think it's coming very, very soon. Now, this is not a Bitcoin video, so we'll also talk about Ethereum, and Ethereum on the monthly looks very, very good. I think next month starts in like 3 days or so, so I'm expecting it to go higher, and if we get something like this in June, I'm not gonna be surprised. Keep in mind, I'm still expecting Ethereum to get to at least $6,500 in its main fifth wave move to the upside. And well, that's my target for the fifth wave. Obviously, that's the minimum target. It could overextend to the 1618, which is at $8,000, but probably not much more than that. And if that happens, and when that happens, of course, I don't know when it will happen. All I know is that, it's very likely to happen. Obviously not financial advice, but we just had a cross on the bull market support band. So this shows us that at some point we're going to have a much bigger pump than what we just had over here. And then when that happens, obviously people are going to start FOMOing in, and when people start FOMOing in, hopefully that leads to a big Ethereum pump, which will lead to a very big Bitcoin dominance drop. And I am aware of the fact that people are getting bored. I mean, I just read a comment on my YouTube channel. I mean, people are obviously, not fans of just waiting for the price to go up for like months. Obviously, it's very, very boring, but please not forget, I've been making these videos every single day for the past 280 days or so. So if you want some advice from me, the advice is to keep looking at them, or maybe just go outside for a minute and keep forgetting about the charts, and maybe when you come back they are gonna be in a way better situation than where they were when you left off. So yeah, that's all you need to know about that. Now, going to the Cardano chart, on the weekly we have a very bullish sign as well. As you can see, we got above the moving average. We tested it right here, and we're about to close the week again in a couple of days, I'm sorry. And when we do, maybe we finally get a bounce. I mean, I thought we are gonna get a bounce this week. It did not turn out to be true. However, I think the bounce is still coming just because we got above the moving average. And as you know from the past, for example, over here, we got above the moving average. We stayed above it for quite a long time. Actually, this was a couple of weeks. And during this time, we were in a downtrend, just like we are right now, by the way. And at some point, we tested the moving average. We bounced off of it, and that gave us this pump. So I think we're just repeating what we did over there. And well, if we do that, I mean, here we went sideways for like 4 or 5 weeks. Right now we've been going sideways for about 4 weeks. So next week could be a very bullish week, but I'm not gonna promise you that it will be, because who knows at this point. And well, my target for the main third wave of the third wave remains the exact same, $3.50. It's no longer required to get to these levels by the second week of June, because I don't think the summer drop will happen, in June this time. So we still have some time, but I am aware of the fact that the market is not doing anything. So it is what it is. I mean, we're still doing pretty fine, and people seem to forget that even though the market is not doing anything, Cardano is holding above the support levels, which is a very good sign, and it's just chilling in the bull market support band. And as you know, we are still waiting for a cross on the bull market support band. We have not had a cross on, any time frame yet, but some altcoins, for example, Ethereum, well, Ethereum is not really an altcoin, but here on the Ethereum chart, I think we just had a cross, I believe on the weekly, yeah, right here. So right now we're just waiting for the pump for the cross, and usually it takes maybe a week or two, or maybe even 3 or 4 weeks to get a pump after a cross. But I mean, right now what we are waiting for on the Cardano chart as well is to get a cross, and usually when we get a cross, it's a very bullish sign. So we'll see, when we get it. Like I said, I have no idea when it will happen. All I know is that it will most likely happen, and then we finally, could be looking at Cardano above $3 after that. But that will only happen when Bitcoin dominance drops. And well, that's all I have. I hope you enjoyed. I'm sorry if this was a bit boring, and I'm sorry if I keep repeating myself, but there's not much else to know. And if you have been in the market for longer than, like, let's say 2 months or so, you should already know what's going on. And if you don't, I suggest watching my other videos, because, well, I talk about different stuff every single day. So yeah, that's all I have. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to check out our YouTube memberships and our Patreon if you want access to all of our charts, and if you want access to our daily Discord updates that are no longer daily for like $5 a month. Also, check out the third wave of the third wave merchandise, like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.